All right, today we're going to talk about a fish. But look, this is not just any fish. This thing is a cultural icon, a billion-dollar industry, and a culinary obsession that has this surprisingly mysterious past. This is the story of Taiwan's national fish, the milkfish. And yeah, the whole story really kicks off with a puzzle. A name that sounds like one thing, but might mean something completely different. It's a legend that's been told for centuries, and it all comes down to a single, simple question. So let's try and unravel this historical mystery, shall we?
Our story begins way back in the 17th century with this guy, Koxinga. He's one of the most famous figures in all of Taiwanese history, and the legends that connect him to this fish, well, they're just as compelling as the fish is delicious.
So picture this. It's the 1660s. The great Ming Dynasty general Koxinga, his name is also Zheng Chenggong, has just landed on the shores of Taiwan. He's kicking out the Dutch colonists. I mean, this guy's a hero, a liberator, and, as it turns out, maybe a fish namer by accident.
So, the most popular legend goes like this. Some super grateful local fishermen present him with this silvery fish he's never seen before. Naturally, Koxinga asks in Mandarin, "Shen mi yu," which just means, "What fish is this?" But to the local Hokkien-speaking fishermen, Shen mi yu sounded kinda like a name, and so it morphed into their word for the fish, Sabahi, which is written as Simuk yu.
But hold on, there's another tale. In this version, Koxinga's army is starving. The sea goddess Matsu appears to him in a dream and tells him, "Me shuo wu yu," which means don't say there are no fish. Sure enough, the next day the nets are totally full. Me shuo wu also sounds a little bit like the modern name, and because of all these stories, the milkfish is still affectionately called Koxinga's fish.
Okay, these are fantastic stories, right? A perfect mix of history and folklore. But you gotta wonder, are they actually true? Let's peel back the layers of legend and see what the real evidence tells us. So when you lay it all out, we have a few competing theories. You've got Koxinga's question and his dream, which we just covered. But then there's another idea that the name is just a phonetic spin on the Spanish word for the fish, sabador. And yet another theory points to how it looks. The fish has this weirdly distinct fatty eyelid, which could lead to the name covered eye fish.
But you know what? The most likely answer actually predates Koxinga and all of that. Historical records, like the famous Taiwan under the Qing, mention that the local name for the fish was Mazut Mal. So where does that come from? It comes from the language of the indigenous Soraya people, and Mazut in Soraya means eyes. They just named it for its most obvious feature, its big, distinct eyes.
So we might have solved the name mystery, but the story of the milkfish is about so much more than where its name came from. It is the absolute backbone of a massive industry. Just take a look at this number, 38.4 billion new Taiwan dollars. That's well over $1 billion US dollars every single year. This isn't just some local favorite, it's an economic powerhouse. It's a cornerstone of Taiwan's huge aquaculture sector, and it's been built up over centuries of expertise.
And the fish itself is just as unique as its story. I mean, it is literally in a class of its own, the only species in its entire biological family. And while farming records go all the way back to the Dutch colonial era, before Koxinga even showed up, the real game changer came in 1978. That's when they perfected artificial breeding, and the whole industry became fully sustainable.
And over the centuries, the industry has evolved like crazy. On one hand, you've got the old-school shallow ponds, where the fish just kind of graze on natural algae at the bottom, a method that's been used for hundreds of years. And then, on the other hand, you have modern deep-water farming, which uses artificial feed and can produce these massive yields. We're talking over 10 tons per hectare. It's this perfect blend of ancient tradition and modern science.
We've covered its history, its industry. Now, let's get to the most important part for a lot of people. What does it taste like, and what's the one big challenge you have to deal with to actually enjoy it? Yep, you are seeing that correctly. 222. That is the average number of tiny, needle-like bones in a single milkfish. It is famously tricky to eat. So with that kind of obstacle, why on earth is it so incredibly popular?
The answer is pretty simple. It is absolutely worth it. The flesh has this perfect texture. It's tender but not mushy, with a really clean, sweet flavor. It's also a nutritional powerhouse, just packed with high-quality protein, B vitamins, and those healthy fats like EPA and DHA. Plus, nothing goes to waste. In Taiwanese cuisine, every single part of the fish gets used, from the prized belly all the way to the head for making soups.
And the ways they cook it are just endless. You can find it simmered into a comforting breakfast porridge, especially that fatty belly cut. It's made into crispy fish floss you can sprinkle over rice, bouncy fish balls in Tainan-style soup, or just simply grilled with a bit of salt. They even make milkfish sausage. It really is a true taste of the island.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear that the milkfish isn't just food. It's a thread that runs through centuries of Taiwanese history, culture, and daily life.
I mean, think about it. We started with a linguistic mystery tied to a national hero. Then, we uncovered an indigenous origin. We saw how it evolved into a billion-dollar industry and its central place on the dinner table. Every step of the way, the milkfish really reflects the story of Taiwan itself. This poem by Kai Rosheng really brings us full circle. It refers to Koxinga by his princely title, Yanping, and it just captures how, no matter what the true origin of the name is, the legend itself has become part of the fish's identity, forever linking it to the island's hero.
The milkfish tells this incredible story of myth, migration, innovation, and identity. It kind of reminds us that sometimes the simplest foods on our plate carry the most profound histories. So, what about your favorite food? What story does it have to tell?